In this podcast, I will discuss about the challenges that are being faced by the higher education institutions in the country in the era of technology disruption. We seem to be on a slower phase compared to the rate at which the disruption is happening. So, as a result, the employment in industries seem to be diminishing. However, the other side, when we discuss with industry, they say that they're not finding enough trained manpower. So, where are the challenges in preparing our students for this technology disruption era? So, for this, I'm going to engage with Professor A. J. Ramakrishnan, who is the organization development consultant. Essentially, the purpose of organization development process is to come up with interventions needed for developing the overall organization rather than promoting an individual leader. It is the leadership of the organization. So those things will be discussed as a part of this conversation. I hope we will have an enjoyable session. Sir, good morning and sir, welcome to this session. In this session, we will be discussing about the leadership aspects and also the organization development in higher education setting. Sir, as you are aware, if we consider our country, the higher education institutions and the universities, if you look into, they are established by the government, a large number from government of India, and also a sizable number from the state governments. And there are also private establishments, a large number of private institutes as well as universities. Now, in the recent, we also have foreign universities campuses being set up in the country. So this is the landscape in which the higher education setting is happening and evolving in the nation. So in this setting, of course, as time evolves, the uh, requirements about the focus um, for higher education landscape also changes. Uh, how, in what manner, the leadership in these organizations and also the organization itself to be is or to be positioned to cater to this need. That is where I want to anchor around the whole discussion, sir. We can begin with your initial comments and then start proceeding.
Except some exceptions, most academicians, in my opinion, are not the best managers.
Okay.
And not that all the so-called managers in the industries also are doing great job.
Mm.
Since I am now into this organization development in the past 1.5 years, I've been listening to so-called experts around the world, and they say that management practices have not evolved in the past 100 years,
Mhm.
even in the industry space.
Mm. Mm.
So when you look at, let us say, all India Institute of Medical Sciences or IITs or NITs and these so-called big institutions, even IIMs. So we need to really relook at how to organize it better. I always have felt, I studied in IIT Madras, worked 30 years in IIC, with no other input, but having better managing people, training them better in what all is required, we can easily double or triple the output of any IIT.
Okay.
And I'm sure this may be true for other institutions like IIM, AMS also, but I have no direct this thing. But by my general guess, I feel same thing may be true.
Mhm.
An extraordinary institution is one where you constantly train people.
Mm. Mm.
See, some I have seen in my experience, I was a chairman of electrical engineering there. There are some extraordinarily good researchers. Sometimes they are not great teachers. Some of them are great teachers, but they are not very good, as good researchers. Some of them are good in research, good in teaching, but they don't know how to take the students along. Students don't stay with them and they leave after 1 or 2 years. Some of them have that uh, record of that. But I'm not saying this to invalidate anybody, because all of us are good in something and not good in something else. But a good institution should, when we recruit a person, see, you are clear that we are recruiting around 35, and the retirement age is 60 or 65. They are going to be with us for 25, 30 years. So it is our responsibility to make sure that they are good in everything that is required for a great institution, for their own satisfaction, and best possible student training for them to become great leaders out in the world.
Mm.
So I feel we should. I'm not the best expert, but we should learn from the best practices and also innovate in how we manage this higher education institution for the best of everybody.
Sir, do you mean to say that no, if some faculty member is good in teaching, not so good in research,
Yeah.
we should encourage him to improve his research part, or he can just become further expert in teaching itself?
That is some choice we need to make.
Uh-huh.
It's possible because, see, I studied from PhD Tech, my B Tech. Those days, I don't even know that there is something called PhD.
Mm, mm,
Maybe some faculty were there. Most of them were masters.
mm,
Some of them were extraordinary teachers.
mm,
So I definitely feel, at least at the B Tech level,
mm,
even if somebody is not a PhD or
mm,
not doing any research, uh, if they are very good teachers and very good learners,
mm,
they can keep abreast of whatever is happening, and they can still serve, do an extraordinary service to the organization for the students' training and all that.
mm, mm,
So, you know that in US and all, they have separate research faculty
mm,
who have, of course, earn their salaries also through research projects,
mm.
but they don't have to be part of the organization, the meeting, and all that. So some of them may not do any teaching also.
Correct.
So that what you are saying is a very good thing, but I'm not an expert because I haven't thought about it further.
Mm,
But it's definitely possible. We can have some people focused on research and
mm,
some people focused on teaching,
mm,
and we develop both of them in their own specialities.
mm.
And some people who are good in both, they can do both also. It should
Okay.
be possible.
Sir, sir, even coming to the leadership of as head of the institution,
Hmm.
see, most of the time it happens like a one-sided approach. No,
Hmm.
even though there are committees and all those things to ensure that no, there are collective decisions happening, but it turns out many times um, it the focus of development or future of the organization rests with the head of the institution. So what are the pros and cons of such activities compared to from your organization development perspective?
Yeah, if you look at, see, my experience is more with government institutions. For whatever reasons, we have developed a system where the director will change after 5 years.
Mm,
So, and in my experience, there is no clear-cut strategies or vision identified by all these institutions. Generally, they say, do good research,
mm,
go do good teaching,
mm,
do more industry orientations. Now, people are also saying, you can start startups or
mm,
have patents.
mm.
But everything we cannot do, no human being is good in everything.
Correct.
Similarly, I feel no institution also can think that they will do everything well.
Mm,
We need to become an expert. We should identify only one or two ways. Either you say, I'm going to do great research,
mm,
or you say, I'm going to do a lot of industrial oriented development. I'm
mm,
more interested in technology for the country.
mm,
Or you say, I'm going to do more of a patent oriented thing.
mm,
So we need to have this thing. And this, my problem is this orientation
mm.
completely changes when the director changes.
Ah, ah, ah.
Because each of us,
Ah,
again, I'm not invalidating anybody, each of us have our own interest and opinions
mm.
based on our past, our knowledge, and all that.
Correct.
So when the new person comes, then the entire orientation changes.
mm,
and it disturbs
mm,
the system in some way.
mm,
Even though they may have very good intentions, it still leaves many people upset.
mm,
And so certain things can change, but for an institution, the long term vision should not change based on change of one director.
correct, correct, correct.
And this is where I feel when a senior professor is now made a director,
Mm,
they should also get some kind of training
mm,
in what makes the institution great.
mm,
What have we learned from the past where
mm,
things didn't work,
mm,
and empower them
mm,
and make them a much better
mm,
manager.
mm.
Because uh, director is more a manager of many things. You have to think about many things. When you are a professor, you have to only bother about research. There itself we said there are many things. Now
Correct,
you have to manage buildings, you have to manage money, you have to manage so many things.
correct, correct.
And some students are unhappy, you have to manage that. So you are now becoming responsible for many, many, many things. And I think you will agree that most of us are not very well trained in that.
Correct. Definitely.
So some training, I think, is definitely needed. I feel it will help
Mm,
to for their own satisfaction,
mm,
for the betterment of the institute,
mm.
and for the overall, because government is investing so heavily in some of these the publicly funded organizations.
Mm,
So when you spend 500 crores,
mm.
I think we should also give enough effort to make sure that the head of the institution or the top people are also sufficiently trained to bring the best out of people
Oh.
and the system.
So, how is that organization development perspective tells about this individual leadership, sir? There is no individual leadership in the organization development concept.
Yeah, so normally we say leader.
Mm.
So they distinguish between leader and leadership.
Ah, ah, ah.
See,
Okay.
when we say leader, now we think, okay, X is a leader
Mm,
and Y is not a great leader.
mm,
So it's all oriented, like you rightly said, about individuals.
mm.
But here they say it's about leadership.
Leadership. Ah.
Leadership is not about one person.
Mm, mm,
It's about everybody owning up the institution.
mm, mm.
Everybody is thinking for the institution's great development.
Okay.
Somebody may be called a dean,
Mm,
but doesn't mean that he is the only one who will decide everything and come up with innovation. Sometimes great innovation can come from some other staff who may not be even interested in research, but somewhere he observes and says, "Why don't you do it this way?"
mm.
So the system should have a sufficient flexibility to listen to anybody who gives really original suggestions.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Mm. Yeah, yeah. No,
So
that
this requires basically rethinking of how we uh, do the whole system, right?
correct.
Yeah.
So, especially, sir, with last decade or so, with many IT-oriented courses have become more in,
Mm.
especially when I take engineering, like artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science, which are rolled out along with the electronics and communication as well as computer science and engineering. Looks like the higher education institution, specifically when I'm telling this is engineering education, is in crossroads because we don't have trained manpower to teach those specializations in a proper way. And even it's, no, in the higher education setting, especially engineering setting, it changes, it evolves with the time, but it is in slow pace. But what is expected seems to be on a faster rate. That's why we also receive these comments. When we train the student, they're not employable, and that is the way the comment comes. So that is where, how does an higher education institution, specifically I'm focusing on engineering, to prepare itself to handle such requirements in the change?
Yeah, as you have rightly captured the main point, the the pace at which we can change things
Hmm.
is much lower compared to the pace at which technology and the world is changing now.
Correct.
Overnight, things are changing,
Correct.
and we are not sufficiently equipped or thought sufficiently to adapt so fast. For example, when you talk about engineering, some of the traditional engineering disciplines are vanishing,
Correct, correct.
except in some institutions.
Uh,
Now they are closing metallurgy or civil or some other disciplines. They are closing down because there are not enough students.
correct.
So one major thing I want to look at it is
Mm,
there must be some clear estimate of,
mm,
when you are doing business, you are manufacturing cars, people
mm.
do estimate the market. Okay, India has so much population, this is the income level. So even if people start, okay, next year there will be so many lakhs of cars is needed, and your production is based on that.
Correct.
I am not aware
Mm,
whether anybody has done that kind of statistics. How many industries are there,
mm.
and how the technology is changing? So after 5 years, see, if you start an engineering student now, after 4 years they will graduate.
Correct.
So the number of students you are admitting today in every branch today
Mm,
should match what will be the demand of those engineers after 4 years.
correct.
I am not sure. You must tell me, because you will be involved in more such higher level meetings.
Mm.
Are there some organized this thing where they get these statistics? What is the number of people we need?
Uh,
And based on that, you give permission to colleges and branches from AICT or anywhere.
I don't think so, sir, because now they have all have the free hands. Because
Hmm.
now in circuit branches, they have been given free hands. Now they admit in thousands. Suppose if I take computer science alone, there are
Hmm.
colleges which admits in thousands. Whereas
Right.
earlier it was tight control. Of course, uh, I'm not privy to such meetings where no, okay, after 4 years, this is the requirement of number of computer science engineers. That's why we are admitting this. This is more driven by market in the sense where students are demanding, our parents are demanding their what
Hmm.
studying. Okay, I don't think parents or students have done any sensing of the future. What will be
Exactly. Hmm.
after 4 years, 5 years? So that is where I don't think that effort has been made, but it's more going following the bandwagon. So that is how things are. Sir, coming to suppose when I come to an higher education organization, um, we have faculty members, we have staff members, we are students. Nowadays, these higher education institutions will have several thousands of students in the campus. This itself is a township. Okay, the
Hmm.
education institution itself is a township
Correct.
where head of the institution will end up acting like a mayor of a town. Okay, looking after the health aspect, civic communities, and food, and staff requirement, faculty requirements, students requirements, and then on top of it, academics as well as excelling in research and incubation and all those things. One another thing in that process, what is being observed is there seems to be disconnect among these three different broad groups to begin with, and within that group itself, there are further disconnects, department wise or unit wise. And within, if I go down further, if I go within the department itself, there are silos. No, one faculty may not have much interaction with the other, and so on. So, when, of course, if I'm just teaching and doing my own research with my students and I don't require any collaboration or something, this model is okay. But in this era of disruption, where most of the applied research or the research what we are looking is multidisciplinary nature, where I need to interact with colleagues and other, not only within the institute first and then outside the institute. So I want your views on the way several decades back we were working as individuals in silos versus the requirement of forming a team and co-creating new products and services. So how do we, whether the old model is fine or this new model we have to adopt if you want to really create impact? That is what I just wanted your view on this, sir.
Wonderful thinking. Definitely, our current models don't work.
Okay, okay.
You use the word silos. I would call islands.
Islands. Okay. Hmm.
People have to really swim to go to the next island.
Ah, okay, okay.
Very little interaction takes place.
Ah,
I'm not blaming anyone. I was also part of that system.
mm,
I would say it is like this, you are born as a Hindu or a Muslim or a Christian.
mm,
Before you start thinking,
mm,
you have imbibed some culture.
mm,
It's not individual's mistake,
mm,
it's a system in which you are born and brought up. So we're all brought up in a system where this is what was the norm, and without our own knowledge, we continue the same culture when we become professors and leaders and all of that. So there should be without making anybody wrong, ourselves wrong, or getting into guilt and all that, we need to together look at how do we organize better, how do we make people interact better, and break the barriers of the departments are definitely needed for certain organizational efficiency and all that. But people have to, that should not become a block for people to collaborate.
mm,
So, I remember when I was a PhD student in biomedical engineering, IT Madras, we wanted to take a course in computer science, and one professor said, "You are not good enough, we will not take you."
mm,
So that kind of this thing shouldn't be there. They
correct.
could have even had a test to check whether have the background and taken. But blindly saying that
Ah,
you are
ah,
not good, we will not take. So that kind of barriers
ah,
is shouldn't be there.
correct,
And if you take a common thing that every person on even a beggar is using mobile phone now.
correct, correct.
And if you look into the mobile phone, will you say it is an electronics product? Yes. Is it a computer science product? Yes. Does it have AI? Yes. So it has got everything.
Mm,
So it's no one department is enough. And see, my own phone, I have dropped it so many times, and
mm,
still it works.
mm,
So somebody has to look at rugged design, which is not either electronics or computer science.
correct, correct.
Then something also we use it now in UPA, so security is there.
Mm,
Very high security, 80 crore people are using UPA. It's
yes,
the best system in the world, I would say.
correct,
And
correct,
all of that is built into the same thing.
correct.
So unless such complex things come together, we cannot produce some next technology which is, going to create a change in the world and make better impact in the this thing and serve the people. So we need to come up with innovative ways of managing the education,
Mm,
managing ourselves,
mm,
managing the culture in the organization, how people talk to each other, how they collaborate naturally, and with the only concern of getting the best products, whether
mm,
it's best products in terms of best students out,
mm,
or really technical products
mm, mm.
or algorithms, whatever it may be.
Correct, correct, correct. So, so the inference I am drawing is uh, it is the need of the hour is we should go and collaborate first across the departments, then across the institutes, and also other stakeholders. Essentially, the co-creation of new knowledge is the motto. Keeping that in mind, we should go all out to create that collaboration and uh, work together to bring something new. If you want to really appreciate it by the society for the growth of humanity. Yes. Sir, now the next question is this is about no the inner thing, what is happening. We are working in silos where we have to break these silos and collaborate. The silos or islands are happening for and suppose a premier institute is in a particular premier institute is in a particular region or city. We ourselves are isolated or as islands compared to the rest of the neighborhood. Maybe from the focus of we want to uh, impart training education because we have a very highly qualified students coming here and we have to carry out cutting edge research. It's all fine, but whether we should just remain to be like this in continue, or is there any role this higher such education institutions or universities have to play for the neighborhood? uh, that is to say, how they become inclusive to the region.
Yeah, I don't have a specific answer. It depends on the views, but I must congratulate you as director of Triple IT Harvard. You are lucky to get one of the visionaries as your chairman now. That Sridhar Vemu. He has shown that such an extraordinary organization, which is having products which go outside India being used, can be done outside big cities.
Correct, correct.
And yes, it's not just theory, he has shown it already. He
Mm,
himself lives in a village like atmosphere, and he's an inspiration for all of us.
mm,
So, since you brought that thing, maybe it is possible, but we need to think
mm,
how we can ultimately, our we are in a system and we produce engineers to go outside in the world and this thing.
mm,
So, either as part of the institution itself we can develop through startups or whatever it is,
mm.
or we train our graduates in such a way that each one is really committed to go out and create that extraordinary thing and not look for a job in US only
Mm.
or in some MNCs only.
Correct.
And they have sufficient leadership and initiative and passion to
Mm,
create good industries like Zoho
mm.
out in the same city
Correct, correct.
or town, wherever the institution is there,
Mm.
and they create that.
Yeah, yeah. Wonderful, sir. Wonderful. So, no, there is a need for, of course, as you mentioned in the earlier point, that no, everybody cannot do everything, but there should be the opportunities enabled in the system which will cater to the need of the society, because ultimately our products are processed. Suppose if I take students as our products, they have to go and work in the same society. So unless we create avenues for that, the belongingness will not come for the neighborhood also, and we are also our students also doesn't get exposed to the realities of the world. So that is where both, if there is a handshake happens continuously between the external society and the institution, together know the requirements and then work towards that. Maybe a separate wing is there, as you told, some startups are working, bringing up the problem statement and providing the solutions. That may be a contribution to the region. So the next point, as since you yourself introduced me to the theory U concept by Professor Otto Schomer, see, he talks about three broad divides that the society and all others are going through. One we call it as ecological divide. Next one is social divide, and third one is the spiritual divide. Can you please comment on that, sir? What are these three divides and how they are affecting the development of any institute, organization, or the region?
Yeah, from organization to entire society, he expands. This is, as human beings, we have neglected nature in the process of, just blindly technology development. We have
Mm,
not looked at how our technology is affecting the
mm,
environment.
mm,
So, so I personally feel that in the design of the products itself, we
mm,
need to add a new this thing. See, we say design for maintenance, design for efficiency, so many things. So we have to also have design for ecological
mm,
sense. That
mm,
is that it is this thing not you know like plastics can never decay, they say.
mm,
So how do you suppose even today, to my knowledge,
mm,
we all of us use in the computer some screen.
mm,
It has got so many parts. We
mm.
don't have a method of completely reusing the whole thing once it finishes its life.
So the point there, other point that is mentioned in the ecological divide is the amount that we consume, because the nature has a regenerative capability, but
Correct.
currently we are consuming much more than what is the regenerative capability of the nature.
Right.
So if that continues, then that will have a threat to the whole nature, sir.
Absolutely. We are
Uh,
not aware at some level. We are not sensitive. We are not responsible as humanity. Same thing.
mm,
For example, everybody uses this, paper to clean their hand.
Mm.
I understand to create one packet of that, 10,000 of liters are produced.
Mm.
If we use earlier we used to use kerchief,
Mm.
and it can be wash it, and again it's a completely recyclable stuff.
Correct, correct.
Whereas this paper, to produce that paper, how much of chemicals and how much of this thing is used, and you
Correct,
just throw it.
correct, correct,
And
correct.
I don't know how much of it is probably recycled. So we need to really, the earlier society, when I was young,
Mm.
the society was much more recyclable, much
Mm.
more environment friendly. Now,
Yes.
in the form of this thing, technology
Mm.
and making life easy, we have complicated much more.
Mm. Definitely,
So
definitely.
don't use plastic.
Mm.
Okay. You go to a big store,
Mm.
whatever you buy, rice, this thing, all that is packed in plastic bags.
Correct, correct,
But only when you come out, the main bag, they say, no, we don't have bags. We will, if you want to, you can buy that cloth bag for 15 rupees.
correct, correct,
But just changing one bag is enough. But what is going inside is all plastic.
correct, correct. Yes,
So
yes,
overall, we have to think.
correct.
So, and it
Yeah.
requires uh, thinking at the societal level. Everybody has to think, and
Mm.
I don't have any answers. But I mean, the other divide you were talking about is that social divide. He says,
Yes,
the
yes.
moment you put a boundary,
Ah.
so I'm Tamil Nadu, I'm
Mm.
Hindu, you are Christian. So we are dividing every way.
Mm.
I'm a professor, you are
Mm.
only employee.
Mm.
Or I'm a PhD from Harvard, you are only PhD from local college.
Mm. Mm.
So like this, anytime you put a label for a person or
Mm.
a group,
Mm.
you know, it is us versus you
Mm.
or us versus them.
Correct,
It starts conflict and can go up to war and killing and all that this thing.
correct, correct, correct. So, sir, suppose again, the next point, if I want to consider, suppose if I take an higher education institutions like an engineering university, um, generally, as an administrator, faculty, or staff from the institute, we take it for granted that the students will come and they have to obey what we say, and we decide what they have to learn, and we don't have to care about anybody. Okay, so this is one type of thought we have. The second type of thought is coming from the other perspective, student perspective. No, I have paid the fees. I am entitled to get all these things. No, they have to provide as an organization. So this is where there is um, uh, a- again bigger silos between institution or organization versus the students in higher education setting. But when I look at, suppose if you want to improve the status of an higher education institution, it's not just stops at the students, because as you mentioned, no, there are in silos, we have problems in many higher education institutions. Who are the stakeholders of these institutions? It just doesn't stop at students. We may have to, I'm assuming, no, there will be parents as our stakeholders, and the employers of our students and industries are the stakeholders. Society is our stakeholder, and even the government is also a stakeholder.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So how does all these stakeholders could play a role in creating a very vibrant academic ecosystem, sir, in an higher education setting?
Oh, you asked a very tough question, but most important and relevant question.
Yes, yes.
See, I've observed over a past
Mm,
decade or so,
mm,
see, all these great institutions,
mm.
somewhere I feel the recognition that students are the principal stakeholders is not there.
Correct, correct.
Faculty think they are the main people.
Yes, yes.
Institution exists for them,
Mm,
for their research, for their publications, for their awards, and all
mm,
that. So each one, like I said, it's a culture.
mm.
But if you look at it, if there are no students, where is the institution?
Correct, correct. Oh, a very important point.
Stu- Student vanish. When the students are not there,
Ah,
institution vanishes. We
mm.
don't need professors. We don't need the other staff. We don't need security. We don't need anybody.
Correct, correct.
So we need to get the students or the principal stakeholders of educational institutions. So everything should revolve around that.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Parents become stakeholders because they pay for the students.
Correct.
So they are secondary, connected through the students.
Yes.
Government is important because they pay to train the students.
Yes.
So everybody is connected some way direct to the students only, in my opinion.
Yes. Oh, that's a very good perspective.
So we need to really be responsible how the students feel. So if there is a complaint that students are not employable,
Hmm.
then as a collective society, I'm not blaming a particular institution. Collectively, we have failed
Hmm.
to take care of the most important stakeholders.
Hmm. Yeah.
The only purpose is to train them and make them better citizens, better employed, whatever they need.
Hmm.
And that if you have not delivered,
Hmm.
after 4 years studying in an engineering institution, they have to do something else to get a job.
Hmm.
Then why did they spend so much money, time, and energy?
Hmm. Hmm.
So that is where I think we need to really
Hmm.
think and involve them
Hmm.
in the. See, they may not take the final decision, but we need to involve them and the parents and all that. What is the expectations?
Hmm.
So again, sometimes parents may not know everything. They
Hmm.
will think that okay, today if you ask them, everybody thinks they should get into
Hmm.
the computer science or AI so that they will get a better job. So they just see what is the current trend.
Hmm.
But we need to do further analysis, like I said, what does the country need for tomorrow's technology?
Hmm.
And how can we train the people today so that country will benefit as well as they will also be satisfied and fulfilled.
Yes. Yes. Correct, sir. So, see, now, especially, my comment is only based on my experience in this higher education institution for more than 2 decades. Um, uh, there is no, of course, there are structured thing we are trying to do or something, but realizing that students are the important stakeholders and design our system and process, keeping them at the core, and then bring the whole activities around them. That part seems to be taken to the forefront, and redesign the higher education landscape, to make it a better place. For example, when a student comes and comes to an higher education institution, she will stay for 4 years with us, and she feels that no, she's out of place in this institute. How much pressure or struggle she will be going through on a daily basis, she or he. In place of that, if she is happy and she is aware, happy, and enjoys every bit of time being in the institute, then it will also internally, it will be, giving her a good support system which is developing, which will help her to grow as a full grown adult and then go and face the society in a much better manner when she go out. So that part will come only when I keep student centric process. When I keep the student centric process, that may help us. Even sir, since you mentioned this point, the related thing what I was thinking was, since we are not looking from the student perspective, what is happening is most of the time we try to address the symptoms. Something happens, symptoms rather than the system thinking. This is also another concept, we are studying that organization development. So, can you throw some light on that, sir? Symptom versus system.
See, the best example I will give it is from the allopathy.
Ah,
See, when you have when somebody has a high BP,
ah,
it's a symptom.
hmm,
It's not the disease.
hmm.
They check and then the pressure in the blood vessels is higher than what it should be.
Correct, correct.
But what they do is they just look at, oh, pressure is high, I want to reduce.
Hmm,
So they give you diuretics.
hmm,
It is one of the standard tablets
hmm,
which will increase the urine outflow.
hmm,
So you are removing the fluid, pressure will come down.
hmm,
You are not even asking why the pressure went up.
hmm,
You are just looking at pressure is high, that is the observation, which is a symptom, and you just reduce it temporarily.
Correct.
Because whatever medicine you give it, it will work for 8 hours or 16 hours, that's all. After that, you have to put one more tablet. That's why they say you take everyday tablets. The other treatment that is there is called vasodilators. They increase the diameter of the blood vessel. So for the same fluid, the diameter is increasing, pressure comes down. This is also a temporary cure, which will work for only half a day. So you take one tablet in the morning, one tablet in the evening. So the good doctors will clearly tell you that they will not use the word cure. They will say this is blood pressure management. Because every day they are managing it. Whereas if you want to cure, then you have to ask, why did the blood pressure go? Okay, his mental this thing is he gets angry for everything. So how do we teach him so that he controls his anger? How does he eat better? And how we make him more sensitive to that? So everything that we do in life affects our blood pressure.
Correct. Yes.
See, something happens, you may be very peaceful because you know how to handle it. I am not used to handling such things. My blood pressure will go up because I see it as danger.
Yes.
So there are many aspects to it. So we have to see, they say you have to look at the structure behind and then the thinking behind. See, in our country, everywhere addressing the issue. Most of it is like that.
Yeah.
Once again, it is not a blame of anybody. We have to, as a society, we have to realize that we have created systems. As human beings, a collection, we have created systems that we are not happy with. We have only created the system, but we are not, none of us are happy with the system. It's not working. So we need to look at how to reorganize the whole thing so that it's working for everybody.
So just like I asked for the students, who come, we are only trying to address their symptom rather than system thinking. That's also true for colleagues who come and work in an organization, sir. Not only higher education, in any organization.
Correct.
So they come with with somehow a purpose or mindset that a 9 to 5 job. Okay.
Correct.
Rather than bringing their head, heart, and soul to the workplace, because most of their quality time they spend in the organization.
Correct.
So if they don't bring their head, heart, and soul, the contribution they can do is also limited.
Very true.
But for example, I need money to sustain for me and my family. For that, I come for a workplace. But the workplace, if it is not, I am not actively involved, so that it will flourish with the time. How does that play a role, sir? How does, as faculty, staff, and other administrators, when we come to an organization or workplace, what should be our approach towards contributing?
There is no one answer for that. It's a very important issue. See, by heart we mean, emotions and sensitivity to many things, including, relationship to your colleagues, as well as what we do affects the society as a whole. All of them are involved in heart. To look at that, everybody should be interested in thinking about it. Suppose, you come and as a director, you come and I am a faculty, you come and say that, how do we do something for you asked the earlier question, how can we do something for the people around the institution? It's a very valid question, but it's coming from the heart. Nobody asked you as a director that you should improve this thing.
Correct.
Because you are sensitive, you are asking that question. But if I don't have the thing, I will tell you, sir, why are you bothered about it? Let's get more students. Let's see how to get more publications.
Correct.
Right? Because I am coming from a different culture where this was never talked. Why are you talking about this? It's not your job. So again, we have to say that we have to come up with the thing that everything is of my job. I'm a human being like everybody is. I'm part of the society. So every issue, like technical issue, and the human issues are equally important.
Mhm.
Because if I'm not happy with my wife at home, I fought with her in the morning,
Mm.
I won't do a great job today. Somewhere it will affect my efficiency.
Correct.
So that is the heart. The
Mhm.
heart should be active both at home and in the institution.
Yes.
And heart is the one which makes me identify with the institution. Oh, this is my institution. I want this to be great.
Mm.
Otherwise, I'm only interested in my promotion,
Mm.
my publications, my
Mm.
research students, my awards. Then
Mm.
I'm happy. That's it. I don't care about you.
Mm. Mm.
Heart says that, oh, let us look at all the people. He is not happy. Let us talk to him and find out what is working. Maybe, somebody has an issue with his father's health or some other issue. Something is not going on. So if that is there,
Mm.
it may not directly relate to teaching a student or something, but it is indirectly involved. Only when everybody is happy
Mm.
and the system takes care of it, the
Mm.
productivity will be improved. If everybody is happy, automatically productivity will improve.
Yes. Yes.
That is where they are talking about heart involvement. Soul is what you really want to do in life.
Mm.
See, my passion is, suppose I want to do some great work in art and something, but everybody says no, 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 art you will not get money.
Mm.
Become a software engineer, then only you get money.
Mm.
So either my parents push or society pushes or somebody pushes, then I become a software engineer.
Mm.
I get money,
Mm.
but I'm every day I feel sad
Mm.
because I don't have time to do drawing.
Mm.
Whenever I read about that in the paper, I feel sad. Some artist is showing some display. Something will be weeping inside me.
Mm.
So, what is my inner this thing and what I am doing? There is a mismatch.
Mm.
So, your passion,
Mm.
what is it fundamentally you want to do, and your work
Mm.
should match.
Mm. Oh, wonderful. Sir,
Yes.
we thank you very much, sir, for last over 1 hour or so. We discussed a wide range of topics,
Right.
keeping the leadership, and the organization development.
Hmm.
Especially when we hear that no, we are in the era of disruption, and the disruption means we are one step away from extinction. And that maybe for some industries we were thinking, but now that is being extended to higher education institutions also in a complex
Absolutely.
thing now. So keeping that, how they have to reorganize their systems, sensing the future and ensuring that no, we stay relevant, then grow. So that no, this education, higher education setting also becomes a self-sustainable model for the nation, for the society, as well as the other nations in the world also, which, since we have highly intellectual community available in the nation. So that is the sincere hope. I think some of the points that we have discussed should be of definitely highly relevant. I'm sure the audience will also enjoy our discussion and look forward for the continued discussion on some other topic at some point of time, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much for trusting me and having this discussion with me.
It's always enjoyment to talk to you, sir, because a wide range of topic and it comes again from the heart. That is most important. It is,
That I agree.
uh,
We talk
it's
from my
not just
heart.
a
Maybe
scripted
I'm not the best expert in this field, but I definitely talk from my heart.
art. So because it's not a scripted response, you just read out something which looks cozy for somebody else, but
Yes.
we have to know the reality. That's where. Thank you very much, sir. I will end the session here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.